Dear friends, English Literature, Introduction to Drama, The Lion and the Jewel by Ul Schwinka. Brief questions with answers. Brief questions 51 to 100. Question 51. What is Legunol's reaction to the taunts of city and the village folks? Answer. Legunol is not upset, though his attempt is not appreciated. He is unmindful of the taunts of city and the village folk. Question 52. How does Legunol console himself when his attempt to reform the society is not appreciated? Answer. He consoles himself with the fact that even a prophet does not get due respect from the members of his family or from the people of his own village. He also remembers that wise men have been regarded as madmen in the past, and many wise men will be abused in the future. Question 53. How does Legunol consider himself to be a Christ figure? Answer. Christ was rejected by the people of his own territory. Similarly, Legunol's new ideas are rejected by his villagers. Thus, Legunol considers himself to be a Christ figure. Question 54. What does Sidi tell Legunol when he proposes to marry her? Answer. When Legunol proposes to marry her, she tells him that she will marry him any day if her bride price is paid first. Question 55. What is bride price? Answer. Bride price is money or property given by the bridegroom to the family of his bride. Question 56. When will Sidi be a laughingstock to the villagers? Answer. If she marries Legunol without any bride price, she will be a laughingstock to the villagers. Question 57. What happens to a girl when she marries without bride price? Answer. If a girl marries without bride price, she is suspected of losing her virginity. It is believed that the girls who have lost their virginity or chastity are compelled to marry without bride price. Question 58. Why does Sidi refuse to marry Legunol without bride price? Answer. Sidi refuses to marry Legunol without bride price for the fear of being guilty of losing her virginity before marriage. Question 59. What is Legunol's attitude to bride price? Answer. Legunol hates paying bride price. He considers it to be a savage custom, barbaric, outdated, accursed, degrading, humiliating. Question 60. How does Legunol try to convince Sidi to marry him without bride price? Answer. To him, if he pays the bride price, the relationship between husband and wife will be a cold one, and their marriage then serves the purpose of only procreating children by gross sexual relations. But he wants her not to satisfy his sexual passion only. He wants her as a life companion, as a friend, and as an equal partner in life. Question 61. To what does Legunol compare the payment of paying bride price? Answer. He compares the payment of a bride price to buying a heifer away from the market stall. Question 62. Why does Legunol compare the payment of bride price to buying a heifer away from the market stall? Answer. He compares the payment of bride price to buying a heifer away from the market stall. If a heifer has defects, the owner usually tries to sell it without taking it to the market. Legunol here means that if she marries without any bride price, it will raise her dignity, proving her without any defects. Question 63. When, according to Lekunol, will Sidi be regarded as his personal property? Answer. He tells her that if he pays bride price, she will be regarded as his personal property. Question 64. Why doesn't Lekunol want to pay the bride price? Answer. Lekunol does not want to pay the bride price on the grounds that it is a barbaric practice. Question 65. Whose images are published in Lagos magazine? Answer. The magazine of both Sidi and Baruka are published in Lagos magazine. Question 66. What beauty does the photographer undo upon Sidi's pictures? Answer. The photographer bestows upon her pictures beauty which even a goddess cannot imagine to have. Question 67. On what pages of the magazine are the pictures of Sidi printed? Answer. On the cover page of the magazine, there is an image of Sidi from her stomach to the top of her head, and in the middle leaves there is an image of her from head to toe covering 2 pages. Question 68. How was the picture of Sidi on the cover page of the magazine? Answer. On the cover page of the magazine, there is an image of Sidi from her stomach to the top of her head. Question 69. How was the picture of Sidi in the middle leaves of the magazine? Answer. In the middle leaves, there is an image of her from head to toe, covering 2 pages. Question 70. What makes Baruka jealous? Answer. On the cover page of the magazine, there is an image of Sidi from her stomach to the top of her head, and in the middle leaves, there is an image of her from head to toe, covering 2 pages. This makes Baruka jealous because his own small image has been printed in a corner of a page near the village latrine. Question 71. Where was the picture of Baruka printed? Answer. His picture was printed in a corner of a page near the village latrine. Question 72. What does the phrase "the devil's own horse" refer to? Answer. It refers to motor car. Question 73. What does the phrase "the one-eyed box" refer to? It refers to camera. Question 74. What is Sierra? Answer. It refers to Sierra Leone. Question 75. Who is Ogun? Answer. Ogun is the god of oaths and justice. Question 76. What is Equi? Answer. It means a clerk. Answer. What does Alakui mean? Answer. It means a learned person. Question 78. What is Chief Basil? Answer. It means spoil sport. I repeat the question. Question 78. What is Chief Basil? Answer. It means a spoil sport. Question 79. In what have Sidi's photographs been published? Answer. Her photographs have been published in a Lagos magazine. Question 80. What is the dance of the lost traveler? Answer. The dance of the lost traveler is a dance of drama with episodes of mime and a final communal dance. Question 81. Why does Sidi ask the village girls to dance the dance of the lost traveler? Answer. When the village girls tell Sidi the news that her photograph have been published in a Lagos magazine and the photographer has come to Illuginle with copies of her magazine, she is so excited by the news that she asks the girls to dance the dance of the lost traveler. Question 82. Who is the director of the dance of the lost traveler? Answer. Sidi is the director of the dance of the lost traveler. Question 83. Who is the lost traveler? Answer. The lost traveler is the photographer who comes to take photographs of Sidi. Question 84. whom does CD choose to act as the photographer's car? Answer. CD chooses 4 girls to act as the photographer's car. Question 85. Lekunal is compelled to play what part? Answer. The girls compelled Lekunal to play the part of a drunkard, the lost traveler. Question 86. What do the 4 girls do to signal the arrival of the photographer? Answer. The 4 girls crouch on the floor like the 4 wheels of a car to signal the arrival of the photographer. Question 87. How does Lekunal direct the spacing of the girls' wheels? Answer. Lekunal takes his place in the middle of the girls and directs their spacing. Question 88. How do the 4 girls' wheels move forward? Answer. With a soft throbbing of the drums, the 4 girls' wheels begins to move forward, rotating the upper halves of their bodies. Question 89. What signals that the engine of the car has stopped working? Answer. A sudden crash of drums signals that the engine has stopped working. Question 90. What happens when the engine of the car has stopped working? Answer. When the engine of the car has stopped working, the 4 girls stop moving forward. Lekunal gets out of the car and pinches the girls' bottoms on the pretext of examining the wheels. Question 91. Why does one of the girls bite Lekunal on the ankle? Answer. When the engine of the car has stopped working, the 4 girls stop moving forward. Lekunal gets out of the car and pinches the girls' bottoms on the pretext of examining the wheels. One of the girls yells in anger and bites him on the ankle. Question 92. What does Lekunal do when one of the girls bites him on the ankle? Answer. Lekunal then gets into the car hurriedly and being failed to restart the car, he abandons it. Question 93. Why does Lekunal begin his difficult journey through the bush on the foot? Answer. As the engine of his car stops working, Lekunal begins his difficult journey through the bush on foot, taking his camera, helmet, and whiskey. Question 94. What does Lekunal see when he leans against a tree to take a rest in the bush? Answer. When he leans against a tree to take a rest, he sees a snake twisting through the branches of the tree just over his head. Question 95. What does Lekunal do when he sees a snake twisting through the branches of the tree just over his head? Answer. Seeing a snake twisting through the branches of the tree just over his head, he flees, being frightened. Question 96. What does Lekunal come across in his path when he restarts his journey? Answer. When he restarts his journey, he comes across a monkey in his path. The monkey gives at him and he quickly leaves the place. Question 97. Why does Lekunal shake his head in surprise in the bush? Answer. Lekunal hears the sound of a girl singing somewhere in the bush and shakes his head in surprise. Question 98. What does Lekunal throw in the direction of the girl singing in the bush? Answer. He drinks his whiskey and throws the bottle in the direction of the girl. Question 99. What does the invisible girl do when Lekunal throws the bottle in the direction of the girl? Answer. At this, the invisible girl screams and laughter and utters a series of words insulting him. Question 100. What happens when Lekunal unhitches his camera to snap a picture of the girl? Answer. When she stays silent, he tiptoes through the obstructing growth and sees her. He unhitches his camera to snap a picture of the girl. To place himself into a good position, he moves backward and forward. When he moves forward carelessly, keeping his eyes glued to the lens of the camera, he suddenly falls into a stream. Thank you friends for watching my video.